Yeah, your grass looks nice and all, but it could look a whole heck of a lot better. And here's the cool part. You don't even have to do anything to the grass to make it look better. What you gotta start doing is focusing on your landscaping. I know there's this fixation with having these big, huge, massive lawns with nothing but manicured turf, but if you ask me, that is just a little bit boring. And that's not going to happen in my lawn. And here on the channel, I'm kind of getting tired of only talking about grass. And I know those are the videos that everybody wants to watch, but I'm telling you, it's time for you to start shifting your gears towards a little landscaping. And that's where I'm shifting. If you've been following along, I showed you a little sketch that I did a little while back in my community posts of my first big project coming up, and I've been sharing a few hints of what is to come. Well, it was finally the time to kick that one off. And in today's video, we're going to talk about the steps that I took to start transforming my property to include some landscaping. What I really want to see out of this new lawn is a lot of natural type spaces. Those serve so many purposes. One, they're going to help save you time and some money. The idea with these is low maintenance, high reward. But in this video, we're not going to get into talking about what plants we're going to start planting. We're just going to talk about how you can prepare the areas that you want to transform into landscaping to make it all happen. So I've got these two areas in my lawn that we're kind of killing two birds with one stone on this first project. All right, behind my retaining wall, there's a French drain. And that gravel in that has kind of settled since we moved in. So I want to bring that soil level up to where it's about right at the top of the wall. Okay, so that's kind of project number one. And project 1A is removing a huge chunk of turf out of the side yard to turn into a natural area, a flower bed. So here's how I did it. Okay? First, I got a load of topsoil and I spread that topsoil on the back side of the wall. Because here's what I didn't do. I am not tearing out the sod behind the wall to transplant the other sod that I tore out on the side of the house back behind the wall. Now, a lot of people will tell you, well, you can't put sod over sod. Well, I did. First, I put down a light layer of soil so that transplanted sod will have something for its roots to kind of dig down into, okay? So the first step was putting down a light layer of topsoil behind the wall. Then on the side of the house where I wanted to tear out the sod, I tried to plan this with rain in the forecast so it'd make it easier to start digging that sod out. But wouldn't you know, 70% chance of storms just kept dwindling and it didn't pee a drop. So to make it a little easier to start digging that sod out, I went ahead and threw a sprinkler on it to soften it up just a little bit. Okay, I let that soil get a little bit softer to make it easier to get a shovel into, and then it was time to start tearing this sod out one chunk at a time. So I did, with just nothing but a shovel, I tore out all of this sod and started moving it to relay it back behind the retaining wall. And let me tell you, this is very hard, back-breaking work. But that is the fun part for me. The challenge, trying something new. That's what I thrive on, and that's why I do these kinds of projects. So I was cutting these pieces, really just depending on what I ran into with the shovel, but I tried to make them, fairly small squares, 12 by 12, 12 by 18. I found that the smaller I made them, the easier it was to manage. And a lot of it was dictated by the rocks down in the soil. I'm telling you, you hear the nightmares of construction debris and rocks in a new construction lawn. Well, I ran into it. But I've always kind of held this opinion that all that's not as big of a deal with the Bermuda lawn as you think it is. And my opinion was further validated because amidst all the construction debris and rocks, I'm telling you, that Bermuda sod was still thriving, still had great roots, and was just in nice shape to move from one part of my lawn to the other. So as I was digging all this sod out, I was moving it back behind the retaining wall and working my way up through the most sunken parts of that, trying to get the level of that soil up to the top of the wall. Once I did that, and I thought I had a nice good run of sod, I eventually ran out of sod from tearing it out on this side of the house, and by that point my body had had all it could take. So what I did after that was I thought, you know what, I'm not going to put any more sod here. I'm going to have this one area that's mainly just topsoil, and I'm going to see how well the sod thrives and works to fix that problem, and how well just using some topsoil to fill in low spots and more or less kind of smooth things out works. So I've got an area of sod and an area of topsoil, and we'll see which one does best. But on the sod side, I needed to use a little topsoil towards the top part of the sod to kind of feather it into the rest of the lawn. So that's what I did there. That way I could still kind of continue my transition up into the rest of the lawn to smooth things out. So I'd have sod towards the bottom, feathered into the top, and already it is just, you start seeing this Bermuda is already starting to come through like crazy. I'm making sure I'm watering it. I'm watering it twice a day right now. The sod for sure needs that. And keeping that topsoil wet is helping to hold it in place. And I'm not watering it too heavy, so I'm not really getting any washout. So anytime you're laying new sod or doing any kind of leveling or smoothing, you got to make sure you're watering it heavily. But that is helping that Bermuda start to come back up through that topsoil. And we're going to watch all this soil area start to fill in real quickly. We've got the right weather conditions for that. So I'll be giving updates of this project as we get further into it. So make sure you're following along, especially in my community posts, and we'll do another video here shortly that shows kind of where we came from beginning to recovery. Okay, of course the sod is going to take quite a bit of time to do its deal. We're going to take it easy with it. It's going to keep it watered, no mowing, nothing else, just letting it do its thing. Then on the side of the house where I tore out all that sod, again, that's going to become a landscaping area. Okay? I'm going to end up putting some ground covers there, and I've got two missions out of both of these projects. One is to just make the lawn more beautiful, and two, I really want to help control the water more in these two areas. Yes, I've already got great drainage in my backyard. Things dry out very quickly, but these two things will help it out even more. On the back side of the wall, I want water to flow more over the top of the wall instead of relying on that French drain and everything sinking down back behind the wall, which would increase pressure and just mess with all that over time. I'm okay if a little water during heavy rain comes over the top because I have the catch basins below that will help drain it out. Then on the side of the house, that hillside where I cut out all the sod, I want that to be full of ground cover, so any rain coming from the top side of the hill on my neighbor's side down towards my house is moving a lot slower through that ground cover and then making its way to the gate and down to the street eventually. So these kinds of projects have more than just making your grass or your landscaping look awesome. It can do so much into controlling water and where it flows in your yard. And most of you, or I'd say a lot of you, probably have some of those issues you need to deal with. And not only that, like I already mentioned, having these ground covers, especially in such a big area on kind of an unideal place to mow on a hillside, all of that is going to save me time mowing, save me time and money when it comes to product, not having to fertilize it heavy, and just the overall upkeep. A lot of these ground covers that I'm going to put down are super low maintenance, don't need a lot of attention, and I can focus more of my attention into the areas of the lawn that I want to keep a little bit more highly manicured. And that's kind of the goal with this. And we have more projects like this coming up in different parts of the lawn that I'll keep you posted with as we go along. Okay, my friends, I think that's it. Did we cover everything? I would really encourage you that you start thinking about how you can improve your lawn through landscaping alone. And I hope this video gives you some ideas on how you can get that ball rolling. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to leave them down below. If you found this video helpful, give me a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. All those things help out the channel so much, and I so appreciate everyone's support of Budget Lawns. We just crossed over the 15,000 mark. None of this would be possible without you, and for that, I thank you. That's it for this one. We'll see you next time.